So there's the living Lila Nishmas, my mother-in-law, Augusta Bas Rabbi Yosef Akayin, in the 24th yard site, I think, 23rd, 24th yard site. I called her Gertie. She was a nice lady. Right over there, look, got a bunch of Gemaras. If you look over there on the shelf, keep on going. Now make a left. It's the last small shelf. Not that one. No, Yankel, right there. Left, right up, right there. There's a bunch of Gemaras there. Right.
Thank you, Joe. You Googled it? I just embarrassed him. He Googled it before you came to the name.
Here's Kosher. 63 years old. 63. She was a very young lady, but she was I could testify. She had cancer. She was dying, and I spoke to her. She said, I said, I was crying speaking to her, and she says, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm crying because She goes, "Listen, this is what Hashem wants. This is what's going to be." I looked in her eyes. I didn't see an iota of fear. Everything was totally, totally true. Just accepted what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, and she was a real big maimin. Real big maimin. And besides, she could drink any man under the table. I never saw a woman drink like that. Oh my! Yeah, she really. Oh, you really had a good time with her. Yeah, Scotch. Yeah. Anyway, so we're up to Hey Amid Aleph. Hey Amid Aleph, the Mishnah. So Ad Masai Shoylin Esagasham. So the earlier Mishnah was discussing when you say Mashav Ruach Mer Geshem. This Mishnah is discussing when you say the same Talamat Levracha. When do you say the same Talamat Levracha? So when do you start? Ad Matai Shoylin Esagashamim. This is not when you start, when you finish. When you start, we're going to see. But obviously it depends on Kufis, right? We're going to start on Kufis. But I must say Shoylin Esagashamim. Until what? Until Pesach's over. When Pesach's over, that's when you go ahead and you stop. Rabbi says no. Or the Rosh says Rabbi Yossi. Say Nisan. You go ahead until Nisan. Shneimar it says Vayorid lachem Geshem Moiru Umalkosh came down for them. Geshem Moru Umalkosh is the early Berishon, and Malkosh is the early rain. The Nisan Bereshis is the Nisan. You see that it came down in Nisan. That's interesting. The Gemara doesn't say what's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara gives the reason for Rabbi Meir or Rabbi Yossi. Doesn't give a reason for Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda, the Tosfos Yantiv says that just like after Sukkot, that's when you begin Moed Goshem, right? You say Moed Goshem after Sukkot, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Right? So though after Pesach, you say you ask for rain until after Pesach. Okay. Amalei Rav Nachman Rabbi Yitzchak. His whole Gemara is going to be Rav Nachman speaking to Rabbi Yitzchak. And then we're going to have Gemaras where Rabbi Nachman is speaking to Rabbi Yitzchak and giving an answer by Rabbi Yochanan. So that's the kesha between the Gemaras. Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Yitzchak, this is a very, very famous Gemara. Okay, says the Gemara, Amalei Rav Nachman Rabbi Yitzchak. Yoira b'Nisan, Yoira b'Marcheshvan. Guys, Yoira is the early rain. Early rain doesn't come out in Marcheshvan, in Nisan. Nisan is when it stops, right? In Marcheshvan, that's when Yoira comes out. It comes out of Marcheshvan. So says the Gemara, the Tanya, Yoira b'Marcheshvan, Yoira, the early rain comes in Marcheshvan, Umalkosh, and the latter rain, b'Nisan, comes in Nisan. So what is it? You're bringing me a pasuk that says that Moira Umalkosh b'Rishon, and you're going to go ahead that came down, the Moira came down in Rishon, it doesn't come down in Nisan, it comes down in Marcheshvan. So Amalei, so Rav Nachman told Rabbi Yitzchak, Chachi Rabbi Yochanan. Again, as I told you, that's the formula, guys. Rav Yitzchak asking a question to Rav Nachman, and he's answering in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, so Rav Nachman is asking Rabbi Yitzchak, and Rabbi Yitzchak's answering in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Bimei Yoel ben Potiel Niskayim Mikra. This pasuk that the Yoira, that the early rain came down in the days of Yoel ben Potiel. Now, Yoel ben Potiel was the Navi Yoel. It's one of the Shayasa was the Navi Yoel, and we were famous that there was a Rav for 7 years. Very famous about it. You might be familiar with. There's a different locust in Mitzrayim. They had different types of locusts that came down. So it was that's known that. So most Mefarshim learned that Yoel was in Bnei Nachum and Chavakuk, part of the Treyasa in that Tekufa of time. I found a Yalkut Shemoni, if you want the Marmokim, is a Yalkut Shemoni Remez Ayin Zayin and Shmuel Aleph. It says in Shmuel Aleph, Perek Ches, it says that Shmuel's sons did not go in his ways. We had this in Nunvav, we had this in Shabbos, that Shmuel's sons did not go in his ways. And the Gemara says, they were accused of taking shochat. They were accused of taking shochat. They abused their position. But the oldest son was named Yoel. The oldest son was named Yoel. And it says Ushmo Yoel. Now, usually when it's a tzaddik, it says Ushmo Shol, Ushmo Yishai. It says the name Shmo before the name. If it's a Rasha, it says Golya Shmo, Sheva ben Bichri Shmo. It'll say his papa name before his name, because he's putting himself before his name. Kaviyachol, the name of Hashem. So they bring a proof from there that Yoel did tshuva, because it says Shmai, it says his name was Yoel, rather than Yoel Shmai. Good? So the Yalkut says, guys, this was Shmuel's son. This Yoel was Shmuel's son. And Shmuel was called Potiel because he was Mafata Kel with tefillah. That goes he could daven, Hashem would answer him, like we saw the other day. He brought to make Kitzikma, he brought to make Kitzirchitim, he brought rain. So he's Mafata Kel. So Potiel here is another nickname for Shmuel. So that'd be a great trivia question. I have to ask Rav Matis if he knew the answer to this question. Rav Matis was classic for asking all these weird questions that no one gets the answers to. Right? So I wonder if he would know it. Anyway, so I was excited to find that. So I'm Rabbi Yoel ben Potiel. This took place between the name Yoel ben Potiel. The sky mikra said the Sivbei. Yes, I guess them achal arbe. Whatever's left over, the arbe, the locust ate. Oisa shana, that year, after 7 years of famine, Yotza Ada v'lo Yordu Geshamim. Ada came and Geshamim hadn't come down yet. Yordu lehem Revia Rishona be'echa b'Nisan. You know when it came down, guys? The Yorah, it came down be'echa b'Nisan. So the pasuk that says the Yorah came down Nisan is speaking this unique time. We're not speaking about the norm. The norm, it takes place in Mar Cheshvan. But this unique time where you had a Rav for 7 years, right? Then that year, when the Rav ended, that rain came down in Nisan. Amar Melvi Yisrael. So go, Vizara, go plant. Go plant. Amuloi, they said to the Navi, Misha yesh like kav chitim, like kavim soirim, yechlenu v'yichya, or yisarenu v'yamos. We got nothing. We have a kav of wheat. We have two kavim of barley. We don't have what to plant. We have to eat this for survival. We have to eat this to survive. So how can you say I should go ahead and plant it? So Amalem, the Navi told him, Afa Pikein, nonetheless, Su'u, go, v'zaro, and plant it. Go plant it. And that's what they did. They went and planted it. Good. Nasalahem nes, a nes happened. V'niskalahem mashe b'ksalim u'mashe b'churi namalim. It was revealed to them that what was hidden behind the walls by the rats and what was hidden in the holes from the ants. And they took that yatsu and v'zaru sheni shlishi revi on the second day of Nisan, the third day of Nisan, the fourth day of Nisan. Now, is machlokes what they ate and what they planted. Rashi seems that they ate the stuff that they found, that they ate the stuff that in the Molim and in the Achbarim, and the Rach says no, the opposite. Okay, but they planted 2, 3, and 4. The Yardulhem Revia Shnia B'Chamisha B'Nisan, and came down the second Revia, the second rain Revia Shnia. It's fascinating, guys. What up? Pshat Nifla Revia. When you think of Ravia is bestiality. Raveya, Nirva, right? Look at the word, right? So I saw Pshat, listen to this. When the water is niskave to the ground, it like comes together and a child is born. It's like a shidduch. It's like mating. The water mates with the ground. And therefore it's called Ravia. It's like an act of procreation. As a result of the water hitting the ground, it comes together and that creates the child.
It's not a nice form of procreation.
No, again, Revia, that's a lot. Revia is, again, bestiality, that's what we type bestiality. But I'm saying Revia is a form of procreation. So therefore, thus the Lashon to explain if you're into etymology, it explains a word, right? It explains the word in a very, very interesting way. Okay, so now, Amalem Navi Yisrael, so he told them to go plant, and they found the stuff, and they planted the stuff, and what happened? And the Chamishi b'Nisan ikrivu oime b'shisha asa b'Nisan. So they came and they planted on 2, 3, and 4, and then came down the second rain on the 5th day of Nisan. It grew from 5 till 16 in 11 days. that they were able to go ahead on and bring the Eimer. It grew, guys. You hear this? In 11 days, they were able to bring the Eimer. Nimsa tfu egdila b'shisha chadashim. Tfu that usually takes 6 months to grow. The winter wheat, which you can go ahead and bring on the 16th, gedila be'echad asayim. It grew in 11 days. Nimsa Eimer hikr mitfu shel shisha chadashim. Right? Kar mitfu shel achad asayim. A tfu that usually takes 6 months. In this case, it took one. Well, okay. Now, very geschmack kasha, guys. Geschmack kasha. I was at the doctor's office that I had a lot of time, right? So very geschmack kasha. You're not allowed to do a mitzvah with a nest, something that comes out of a nest. You're not allowed to use for a mitzvah. So how were they able to go ahead and use the Seimer? How were they able to use the Seimer? In other words, if a chayrik grew out, they nest, right? Right? What? Right? Yeah, that's the yes, the kasha by Hanukkah. The they yes the kasha by Hanukkah. Yeah, the grizz yes the kasha by Hanukkah.
They lit it once when it wasn't an ace, and then it just continued burning.
Okay, right again, but they yes the kasha. They yes the kasha. Listen to the teretz, guys. When is it also that if it's the nest is a nest that's a nest nigla? This is not a nest that's derech teva. It grew quickly, but if it's not, but it grew in a normal way. The Gemara has the kasha in Menachos, guys. That the chitim came from Shemayim. The chitim was in the clouds and it fell down from the clouds. That they asked the kasha. How can you use that for from wheat that came from clouds? Wheat doesn't come from clouds. How can you use that, right? So you have a kasha. The wheat came from the clouds. That's a nest. You can't do that. But when wheat comes from the ground, that's not a nest. The nest was the alacrity that it grew in so quickly. But it's a beautiful teretz. It's good you say to know. Okay, very good. Regarding that dar, who Omer, you might know this pasuk, Hazayrim bedima berini ektzayru. Halach yelech uvachay noisei meshach hazar. Okay, so my halach yelech uvachay noisei meshach. Amar Yehuda. Shar kushu chayresh, the shar when it goes ahead and it plows. It goes along and it's what? It's baich, it's crying. As it goes along, what? It cries. And when it comes back, achul chazis min hatlem. He eats the chazis what? From the tlem, right? Zehu bo yavai berina. So hazarim bedima, because when it's planted, he's upset, and he comes back. Berina iksaris. Now, my nice alum moisav carries its load. Amrav Chista v'mil mesnisan tana kana zeres she boilers rasim. That year, a kana was a zeres wide. That's a here for ama. A zeres she and she boilers rasim, and it was the she boilers was 2 rasim. In other words, it was double. Usually, guys, the stalk is thicker than the sheaf in the top. Over here, that it was double. It was kafel the amount. Amar of Nachman Rabbi Yitzchak. My dichsiv kikar Hashem levav the gambo el aretz sheva shanim. Now, b'hanach sheva shanim ayachal. Why did they eat those 7 years during the Meiyah? That's a long time for a famine. Why did they eat? Samalei. So Rav Yitzchak told Rav Nachman again. Hachyam Rabbi Yochanan. Guys, again, that's the thing, right? Rav Yitzchak answered Rav Nachman something that he heard from Rabbi Yochanan. So Hachyam Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan said. Shana Rishana Eichlu Mashe bebatim. First year they ate whatever they stood in the house. Shnia Achlu Mashe besadais. The second year they ate what was in the fields. Shlishis, and the third, but besad behema tahira. Revius, the fourth year besad behema tameya. Loyalena, they had to eat behema tameya to survive. It gets worse. Chamishis, the fifth year besar shkotzim ramashim. They ate bugs. Shishis basa beinehem ubenesayim. Neshitskadach. And Shvius bosses royaseyem their own hands. The kaima shenemar ish b'saz roy yochelu. Can eat what his own flesh. V'amler of Nachman of Yitzchak. My dechsiv b'kir b'cha kadosh v'loy avay be'ir. Right. B'kir b'cha kadosh. Amongst you, you made holy, and I won't come to the city. Makes no sense. If we are making Hashem holy by doing tshuva, why shouldn't he come? Says the Gemara. Yishum did b'kir b'cha kadosh like avay be'ir. because B'kirbecha Kodesh you shouldn't come. It makes no sense. So Amalei Hachim Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu, Le'ova b'Yushalayim. I'm not going to come to Yerushalayim Shal Maila, into Yerushalayim Shal Maila, at She'ovay Yerushalayim Shal Mata, till I come mat to Yerushalayim Shal Mata. Umika Yerushalayim L'Maila is there. So that's pshat over here. That there's a Yerushalayim Shal Maila. Because Baruch is saying that the pasuk is saying, if you look at Rashi, 1, 2, 3, about 5 lines in the bottom. V'achi kamar, ad sheyehi b'kirbecha kodesh lemata, the hainu Yerushalayim le'ovay be'ir shalom ma'ila. Until what is I'm kodesh? Until I'm kodesh in the lower city, I'm not going to come out to the upper city. I'm not going to come to the one above. Fred the Gemara, is there such a thing as Yerushalayim shalom ma'ila? Is there such a thing? In the Chsiv Yerushalayim Abenuya, the Yerushalayim is built ki'ir shechubra lo yachtav, like it's joined together. It's mashma, right? That it's joined together. That there's two Yerushalayim. There's a very interesting Ramban al Torah. He describes the chet of the Eitz Hadas and other being Gan Eden, and he says Davi Yadash Gan Eden be'olam, that Gan Eden's in this world. And the raya is, it says v'nor yotzei min hagan nor min Eden v'hishken es hagan. And he gives, it says one was called Paras and one was called, basically these are rivers that are in our world. Nile rivers in the world, the Euphrates, the Tigris, they're in our world. So obviously it's Mashka the Gan must be in this world. Eli says, just like in this world there is something, there's a parallel to it in Shemayim. There's a parallel in Shemayim. There's a Gan Eden in Shemayim, parallel to Gan Eden in this world. So that would fit into this Gemara very well. There's Yerushalayim Shel Mata, and parallel to it in Shemayim, there's what? A Yerushalayim Shel Maila. Formally, Rav Nachman, Rav Yitzchak, again, Rav Nachman speaking to Rav Yitzchak, my dichsiv, it says, Uba Achas Yivaru, Uba Achas in one, Yivaru, they will be removed. Vikoslu Musar Havolim, and their what? And the Musar of Hevel, Eitzu. So how do you darshan Uba Achas Yivaru? It's Vikoslu. So now Rabbi Yitzchak again saying in the Rabbi Yochanan to explain this pasuk, Achas he, there's one avera, Shema averis rishayim b'gehenim. So uba Achas yivaru, guys. In Achas, in one avera yivaru, they'll be consumed. So there's one avera that will consume you. Mahi, what's that avera? Avodah zara. That avera is avodah zara. Ksiv hacha musa havolim eitzu, uksiv hasam hevel hema. They are hevel maisa tatuim. They are maisa of delusioning. So therefore, Maisa Tanuim is referring to Avodah Zara. Hevel, so to the Hevel over here is referring to Avodah Zara. So that Aver Avodah Zara is gonna take it again. Rav Yitzchak, Sarah Rav Nachman Rav Yitzchak, my dechsiv kishtayim rois asimi. Two bad things you do with me. Tartin hu dave esen vabosh vikalhu. There's 24 averis that are alluded to in Sefer Yecheskel. Other people say there's 24 svarim that they were over, the 24 books of the Torah Nevi'im Ksuvim that they were over. So Amalei Hachim Rabbi Yochanan. So Yitzchak told him, this is what Rabbi Yochanan said. Achas shehi shekula kishtayim. You have achas, which is equal to what? 2. Achas that's equal to 2. What's the one aver that's equal to 2 is avodah zara. Because you do 2 things wrong. The chsiv kishtayim rois osa ami. Two evils, 2 bad things my nation have done. Oh, you see, Azvu Makar Ma'am Chayim, they have left me the source of life. Lach Tzayv Lehem Be'eres Be'eres Nishbarim, to go ahead and to cut out cisterns of what? Of brokenness. Uksiv Behu, Ki Ivru Iye Kitsiyim, Uru'u, the Keda Shilchu Visbainenu Ma'id. What does that mean? That Ivru Iye Kitsiyim, the oils of Kitsiyim and Kedar, these are different nations, guys. Kitsiyim and Kedar. Now, and we got to see the 2 bad things they did. We're going to get to that. They'll change. The goy will change their God, but they won't change. In other words, the God will be disproven, but they won't change. However, va'ami, my nation, without any benefit. So they did 2 wrongs. They leave me and they go somewhere else. That's the 2 wrongs. Not only are they leaving me, Makar Mayim Chayim, but where are they going? To Beres Chatzam. They're going to other things. And the Goyim, even if it's disproven, they stay loyal to their God. Where do you see that? Tanu, Kitiyim Oivdim La'esh. The Kutim, they go ahead and they serve fire. The Kaderim Oivdim Lamayim. And the Kaderim, they serve water. And even though they know that water puts out the fire, so it's a swerve to say that the Kedaim's God is more powerful than the God of the Kedaim, they don't leave. However, Va'ami, my nation, Hema, they go ahead, what do? They remove, they for no benefit, they leave my covenant. So those are the two bad things you do. You find someone else and you leave me. The pasuk Vayihi Kasher Zaken Shmuel, when Shmuel got old. So again, the pasuk is describing there. Shmuel got old and his sons did not go in his ways. Now, Fred the Gemara, right? Umi Siv Shmuel. I have to tell you, not only is Rashi not Rashi, I think the Gemara of Tainus is very strangely written. There are words here that I don't find anywhere else. This is the word siv. I'm not familiar with that word for being old. There are different words in this Masechta that I just find it's. I spoke this over with there's a Maggid Shir, Rabbi Raps, a big Chashva Talmud Chacham. Rabbi Raps, he's masking. He says he thinks it was a different. There's certain Masechtas that are different. Nazir, Nedarim, Shnashkom is Yerushalmi. No, Nedarim. We're going to learn Nedarim. It's Meshuna. The lashon is Meshuna. Tamura. There's certain Gemaras you see that they didn't go through to work them through. You said, man, I remember you saying all of them. I know it's going like this. I'm saying that. I'm saying that this Gemara is a little different than normal Gemara. If you now that I told it to you, as you'll see the words, there's certain words that are. It's just a different gersa. It could be wasn't fine tuned. I don't know. Rav Amir Rav Ashi, who made the Gemara. I'm not sure. Anyway, the Gemara says. Shmuel was Umi Siv Shmuel. Was Shmuel really what? Was he so old? Kulehai for Bar Nun Beis Hava. He was a total about of 52 years old. Damamar Meis Minud Beis Shana. Zel Misasha Shel Shmuel. If someone dies at 52, that's the Shmuel Muslim. Someone else died at 52. Very famous person, Shlomo Melech, guys. Shlomo died at 52. Now you're familiar with the word from your Pesach Seder. Who was the Gilgal? Elazar ben Azariah was the Gilgal what of Shmuel. Where do you get that from? He said Harinik ben Shiv Shana. He was 18 when he grew his beard, and Shmuel was 52. 52 and 18, so it was 70. So that's why Harinik ben Shiv Shana. It fits in much better. Like you say about the Pesach Seder, it's just move over a bunch of other things when you're trying to get things moving. But over here, it fits in Pshat in the Gemara. It's a little different. Okay. So what do you mean he got old? So again, Rav Yitzchak's answering Rav Nachman, who asked him this, he's answering in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Zikna kaftzolov, old age jumped upon him. Now, I have from a God embracious that with people who get old is because the kids make them old. Yeah. The kids make them old. What? No. Why would my kids are they're Rabbeim? Second, let's tell them.
What was the secret?
People that came up with said, what's the secret to get such children? I said, bail him out of prison at the right time. It'll be okay. So now, just don't leave him there. Okay, anyway, so, and this is on tape, Nachtetsu. Anyway, for posterity. Anyway, so Geshmak, guys. So I have that, he got old from his children. He prematurely grave from his children, but the Gemara, you can have a different direction than the Gemara, because here old age means he's going to die. He's going to die. Not just he looked old, but he's going to die. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Shmuel, I regret I regret that I went ahead and I anointed Shaul. This is after the Ma'aseh with Amalek. So I'm Lefana, Rebbeinu Shalom. Shekaltani k'Moshe v'Aaron. You have equated me with Moshe v'Aaron. We had the Gemara earlier, right? In not in this Masechta, we had it in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, right? The three Yiftach b'Dorei K'Shmuel b'Dorei, right? B'Don b'Dorei like Moshe and Aaron and Gideon b'Dorei. So we know that Yiftach. Okay, we know that he was equal to Moshe v'Aaron. Moshe was equal to Moshe v'Aaron. Yichsiv Moshe Aaron b'Chayhanov, u'Shmuel b'Kari Shemo, so they're all equal. So Ma Moshe Aaron like Batlu Ma'aseh Yedayim b'Chayayim, just like Moshe and Aaron, guys. Like Batlu Ma'aseh Yedayim b'Chayayim, their handiwork remained in the lifetime. Yeshua remained. Yeshua was a Talmud of both Moshe and Aaron. He davened that he should not see his Ma'aseh Yodai. Guys, Ma'aseh Yodai was Shol. He went ahead and anointed Shol. I should not see Shol, right, lose his Malchus. That's what he davened. So just like Moshe and Aaron, who you equated me with, did not see the handiwork go by the wayside, I also should not see my handiwork go by the wayside. I'm a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Heichi Ovid, what should I do? Allah, Kadosh Baruch Hu's talking to himself, guys. Heichi Ovid, what should I do? We might Shol like Koshavik Shmuel. To kill Shol, Shmuel's not going to let me. I love it. Right, Shlomo? You want to find Shlomo? Lemay Shol like Koshavik Shmuel. Limay Shmuel Adizuta Mirani Abasrei. If he's young, they're going to go ahead and they're going to, look, right? How could, Shmuel, the tzaddik, he's young, and here he goes. But when he's old, they won't realize he's old. He's dying because he's old. But if you take him away young, you know what it would do for, it'd be a Chil Hashem. Who knows that's what Shalom can happen, right? So Hashem, it has a quandary. Hashem has a dilemma, quandary. Okay. Loila Meshov, Loila Meshmuel, neither one. So not do anything. In other words, you're right. Don't kill anyone. So Shmuel, Shol will outlive Shmuel. He won't see Ma'aseh Yadav go, and everything will be hunky-dory. No, you can't do that. Why? Because Kvarigia Malchus David, the Malchus Legas Bechaveirata, Afilu Kamalei Nima. The Malchus, guys, there's not, once it comes the time for a king, even a hair's breadth won't separate that. I'll refresh your memories. In Masechta Brachas, when Shaul is going to he's looking for his donkeys. And they told him, well, go to the Roya. The Roya, Shmuel was the Roya. Go to the Roya and he'll tell you where the donkeys are. But he didn't know where the Roya was. So he asked a few girls. And they start hacking him at China. They start talking. In fact, he asked a simple question, where's the Roya? The answer is that house. One of the pshatim in the Gemara is that they want to look at his beauty. Shaul is beautiful. A second pshat is that he got there early. If Shaul would have shown up by Shmuel, it would have been earlier, and it wasn't the time for Shmuel's Malchus to end. So therefore, he delayed it. So he delayed it. The girls came to talk to him to delay. So that's the shot that went on over here. So now says Hashem, what should I do? So Hashem came out with a great answer. You know what happened? He made Shmuel look old, and he killed Shmuel. He took him before his time. Well, I don't know if he took him before his time, but he died, and as a result, his Ma'aseh Yadav was Mekayim. So Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Akbitz Alav Zikna. I'll go ahead and I'll prematurely age him. And Hainu Dichsiv, the Shol Yoshev Begiva. And now, again, this point is that Shol's Maisa, that Shol still remained in kingship, right? As long as Shmuel was alive. Why? The Shol Yoshev Begiva Tachas Eishel Barama. Shol was sitting in the town of Givat Shol, that's where he lived. Tachas Eishel Marava, because of the Eishel and Rama. Chima Indian Giva Eitzel Rama. It's two different places. Mi Garam L'Shol Sheyeshev Begiva. Who caused Shol guys to live in Giva? Shtei Shanim Umechza, 2.5 years, the length of his rule afterwards. Tfilah Shel Shmuel Ramasi. It's the Tfilah of Shmuel Ramasi. It says in the Mitchi Gavra Mikami Gavra. Why is Shmuel's blood red? Why is David's blood redder than Shmuel? Well, it's why? Why are you taking Shmuel early? If David was what, you're going to push just to get David into power. You're going to push him in. Amar Shmuel Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonason, my dichsiv al kain chatzafti b'neviim haraktim b'mei pi. Therefore, chatzafti b'neviim harakti, I killed b'mei pi with the words of my mouth. I didn't say I killed them because of their deeds. I killed him with my mouth. In other words, you're right, without them doing anything wrong, I decided to take him, and therefore I took Shmuel early because it's time for what? For David. Alma mitchi gavra mikabe gavra. See, one gavra goes for another gavra. Rav Nachman, Rav Yitzchak, Haviyasi B'Sudasa. Rav Nachman, Rav Yitzchak, they were sitting in the Suda. Amalei Rav Nachman, Rav Yitzchak, Lema Mar Milsa, Zog Epis. So Amalei Hachim, Rav Yochanan. Again, that's the rule of thumb, right? The whole Sugya, guys. Right? Rav Nachman, asking a kasha to Rav Yitzchak, and then putting Rav Yochanan. Ein Mesiach Mesuda. You don't speak in the Suda. Shemiyagdim Kan Leveshet. Maybe what the trachea will come before the esophagus, and you will choke. V'yavli le'sakana. Basa the soya. So after they finish eating, Amalei Hachim Rabbi Yechon. You want to hear a chiddush? Yaakov Avinu loy meis. Yaakov didn't die. Yaakov did die. Amalei. V'chi bichtei softu sebadna. They made a hesped gadol in the Gairin, right? Who they, if he didn't die, who are they making a hesped for? The chantu chantia. They embalmed. Who did they embalm if he didn't die? The kivru kavre. They buried someone in the Maras Machpelah. If he didn't die, Amalei mikrani dairish. I dash in a pasuk shnemar. The ata al tira avdi Yaakov num Hashem. I'll take us Yisrael. Don't be scared. Ki ineni Mashiach merachik. I'll go ahead and save you from afar. Ves zaracha me'eretz shavim. And I'll go ahead and Yanesh and bring your children. Makish hu zaray. We make a hekesh to him, to his children. Mazar b'chayim afu b'chayim. Okay, so take a little time. I sent out, guys, on the chat. Take a look. I sent something out. This is Yaakov Leimes is a very, very famous chazal. It's a very famous chazal, and I have a bunch of different terutzim, which I shared with you, and here it is. And where is it? There it is. What? Oh yeah, his video. Okay, let me put this up. Okay, bear with me. I didn't do this beforehand. No, this is not the one. I have to get it bigger. I don't know how to get this bigger. Okay. Oh, I got it bigger. Okay. So guys, on the guys in the Zoom, you could see Kenny. You could see Kenny. Can you see on the Zoom?
Didn't come up.
It didn't come up. Okay, so hang a sec. Hang a sec.
Got it.
Got it?
Good.
Okay. So this is coming a bunch of different pshatim guys had to explain that Yaakov didn't die. Hainu shenafshe shel Yaakov hoisem rachefes al gufay tamid. The nefesh of Yaakov was hovering over his guf the whole time. If they toikif kedusha because of the strength of his kedusha. Kishar nafshes at tzadikim she'enim madregas hakedusha kamahu. Tzadikim were not as holy. Chozerish l'shvashim l'ikman. They go back to tachas kisei hakavod. They go back to underneath the root. The kivin she'olu. Once they go up, le'yordu they can't come down again. Aval Yaakov le'goydel kedusha zgufay malasei because of the strength of his kedusha. Ha'isanav she'oylu v'yavedes. He can go back and forth. V'hakoyach hagadol hazeh eino elo l'kedoshim yechidim hadayres. This kedusha, this tremendous kedusha, to be able to go back and forth after one's death. Kigoin Rabbeinu HaKadosh. The Gemara says in Kesubis that every Erev Shabbos he would come down to light candles. So again, that's one pshat in Yaakov, that Yaakov didn't die. Then he had shlita over his body even after his death, that he can come back. A second teretz. Hakavanim is he she'ein psul b'zaroi. He's alive because there was no psul in his children. Ki Avram b'Yitzchak choysa paiselis b'zaram. Avram had a Yishmael, Yitzchak, and an Esav. V'loi kol zaram hayiroyli dabik b'chayim. Not all his children can remain alive forever. Well, the Kabbalah Torah, Shim Karachayim, to receive the Torah, which is the breath of life. V'adavik by Davik b'chayim. Anyone who eats chayim hilam achasikim ba, right? V'kivin shemikza zoram nechshav meis. Since Avram Yitzchak had partially children that are considered dead, Meir al koyach toldasam. It goes in and testifies on their children. Ki hazera meir al shirish, because the children, they testify about the root where they came from. V'meso, if they die, miktsas anafim, simenu al koyach hamoylet shahaya bayefsid. So there's a chesaron in Avram and Yitzchak, the fact they had these two. Because again, it's meir that they're not chayim because they don't have shaykos to this world. Aval zera Yaakov shahaya kulei toiv. The zera Yaakov, which was totally good, meir al shirish shahaya kulei chayim. It shows that all his kids were right. That's what the Gemara is saying. Just like his children are b'chayim, they'll be Davik b'Torah. Afhu b'chayim, so too he's alive. Right? Shazera made al shirish, since the child's made on the root where it comes from. Shayachai b'li hefsek. So that would be another pshat how to explain that they didn't die. That the fact that we are in a way the children of Yaakov. He was the v'yishtachvu Yisrael al Rosh Hamita, Shlayimita Shlema. There wasn't any Rishayim, and we are the eternal nation. We'll never die, right? We'll never die. So it really was contrasting Avram and Yitzchak. Avram and Yitzchak, since they had an Esav and a Yishmael, so there's the Shirish. You can't say they're alive because part of them is dead. But Yaakov, no, we're all alive and we're all vibrant. And a third, so there's two pshat. And the first one, they had control over his body because of the kedusha, his neshama going back and forth. The second one, his children are all alive. Hakavana, the third pshat, said Yaakov bin Olemes in Mitzrayim. He didn't die in Mitzrayim, Ela Beretz Yisrael, only in Eretz Yisrael. L'kach remes k'shamar hine enochi meis b'kfari asher karisi li shirak sham amais. The pasuk in Bereshis that he only died in Eretz Yisrael. Umasham lahakas, that we make a hekesh to his zera. So what does that have to do with making the hekesh to his children? Shekashem shekayim Hashem as haftachas Yaakov she'al in Mitzrayim, just like Hakadosh Baruch Hu kept avtach to Yaakov that he would take him out of Mitzrayim. Kein yala gam ezarei meretz shivyam. We will get out of what? The Gullus, guys. So that's how the hekesh between Yaakov and the children. Okay, let's skip to the fourth one. Kavana say Rabbi Yitzchak Leimer sheYaakov vino achein meis. He did die. Ach leimeis kasham meisim sheyikumu yachad leis techias hamesim aliyakim letichia lefnei kain. Yaakov's going to be able to come back before techias hamesim. So loy meis, he didn't die like normal people, but he died like what? He'll be back before techias hamesim. So we have four pshatim. Let's go through the four pshatim again. First pshat that he has control over his guf or his neshama. He can come back and forth. The second pshat, the nice deep pshat, that since his children were all pure, they're chayim, and therefore they're chayim, so he's considered chayim. The third pshat is that he Eretz Yisrael, right? That Eretz Yisrael, that he didn't die in Mitzrayim, he died in Eretz Yisrael. And the fourth pshat that he will be back earlier, that he died but didn't die like everybody else. So that would be four ways to explain an Indian that. And in Bemis, the pasuk says, guys, if you look at Tosfos on our page, guys, look at Tosfos on our page. It says Tosfos, Yaakov v'ino lemeis v'chein mashma dichsiv vayigva v'lo ksiv vayomes. By Avram it says, guys, vayigva vayomes. By Yitzchak it says vayigva vayomes. By Yaakov it says vayigva. He put his feet on the bed vayigva, but it doesn't say that he died. And then we say Yaakov lemeis. That's the source.
He was the person to get sick, right? He was Yaakov.
Okay. Anyway, weiter. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Rabbi Yitzchak, right? Rabbi Yitzchak, Kol ha'omer rachav miyad nikre. Anyone who would say the word rachav immediately would have zera come out of him. Only Rav Nachman, I know Amina, I said it. Amalei ki kamina. When do I say it? Biyoida u'makira. You knew her and you recognize her. Tosfos brings yoida means you had relations with her, like Vayeda Yaakov, right? Vayeda lashon Vayeda Yediyah is lashon the Kia for Tashmish. Ki amifnim me'adadi. When they left each other, you have all this dialogue between Rav Nachman and Rabbi Yitzchak. And Rabbi Yochanan, he wasn't there, but he was saying in his name, right? He's Amalei. He said to him, Rav Nachman said to Yitzchak, Levarchan, give me a bracha. Levarchan Mai, give me a bracha. He asked for a bracha. Amalei, guys, is Rav Yitzchak giving the bracha or Rav Nachman? I think Rav Yitzchak's giving the bracha, right? Who's giving to art school guys? Who's giving the bracha to who? Yeah, okay, so right, that's the way I learned. So Amalei. Guys, very famous. He was starving. He was tired. But and he was thirsty. Umatza ilan, he finds a tree. That the fruit is sweet. But and the shade that it affords is wonderful. And there's a stream of water going underneath it. He drinks, eats from its paris. And he drinks from its waters. And he sits in the splendor of the shelter. When he wants to go, Omar, he says, what? Elon, how can I go ahead wide and bless you? To say that your paris should be sweet, they're sweet. In other words, you have your sauce. All the branches that grow from you should be like you. What can I bless you with? Say, may the children come from you, should be like you.